My name's Rob Wetmore. I'm the campus director, and joining me here this evening is Jillian Boutelier, who is our lead instructor at within our community support worker program, again here at our Alderney campus. Before we get started, I just wanted to give everyone just a little brief history of CBBC Career College. We started out as the Business College in Sydney in 1958. And in 2016, we opened what's called our Regency Salon on Barrington Street, and then the Alderney campus in 2019. Over the years, we have trained thousands of graduates in numerous programs. We're certainly a lot larger with 5 campuses now in Nova Scotia than we were back in 1958 when Ronnie MacArthur decided to first open the doors. You know, we are a lot larger than we were, but over the years, we have never lost sight of our core values. And to this day, we remain very student focused. At CBBC Career College, we do take a different approach to learning. You know, first of all, our programs are very hands-on. Yes, there's going to be theory, but we show how that theory translates to the job. And when our students graduate, they are 100% ready to join the workforce. Secondly, we train in a modular method. And what that means is that we teach one particular subject at a time. I'm not sure where everybody is in their life, but if you remember back in high school, and I certainly do, I used to always think, you know, my body's in my 10 o'clock history class, but my mind's on my 2 o'clock math exam. Well, being modular, again, it lets you focus in on one subject at a time. If you have homework or assignments, anything like that due, it's always just going to be in one particular subject. Our class sizes are quite a bit smaller also. Right now, our average class size is approximately 14 students. That gives students that opportunity, you know, to know more about one another and also get to know their instructor, and their instructor gets to know them. It also gives that opportunity for when a student really needs that one-to-one instruction from the students, or I'm sorry, from the instructor. Also, our instructors are subject matter experts. They come from the industry and have that real life industry knowledge and experience, and they are committed to our student success. We also have multiple start dates for our programs. So a person doesn't have to put their life on hold for 6 months or a year while they're waiting for a program to start. Generally, our programs will have 4 or 5 different start dates throughout the year. And what really sets us apart is that we are focused on employment. When a student enrolls at CBBC Career College, they are enrolling because they want to become a community support worker. They want to become a CCA. Maybe they want to become an early childhood educator. And we are committed to help make that happen. We don't base our success on how many students we have in the school. We base our success by the number of graduates that are working in their field. I'm proud of a stat that I'm going to throw out, and right now our employment rate here at the Dartmouth campus is 93%. And that is, again, graduates that are working in their field of study. Career Services stays busy, and they are committed, again, to that success of the student. And the relationship with Career Services and the student does not end at graduation. If anything, that is just really the beginning. And it's a lifelong contract that we enter into with the student, that at any point in time, they can access the resources at Career Services. Okay. So that's just a little bit that I wanted to tell you about CBBC. I'm now going to hand this over to Jillian, and we will have time at the end of the webinar for any questions and answers. And believe me when I say this, we do encourage lots of questions. So there, Jillian, I'll get you to take it from here.
Perfect. I'm just gonna share my screen, so everybody just give me one quick moment here to get that set up. Perfect. Okie dokie. So as Rob mentioned, we are going to chat about the Community Support Worker Program. Some of the things you may be wondering are, what would it take to be a community support worker? What are the kind of characteristics that makes a good community support worker? And here are some of the things I think I would get you to ask yourself. Are you empathetic and have a deep caring for people in general? Do you have the desire to see your community improve or help out, see that change? Would you consider yourself open-minded and non-judgmental? And do you find joy in empowering others to do their best or meet their goals? Another really important thing to ask is, do I admire and appreciate diversity? Do I acknowledge the benefits that come from that? And knowing different people with different diverse backgrounds. You could be asking yourself, do I have a passion for advocacy and social justice and wanting to be a voice for maybe populations that have been potentially silenced or ignored in the past? Maybe you're inspired to create change within your own community and maybe someday the world, and you're looking for where to start. Something personal to you, maybe you see friends or family going through issues and challenges, and you're immediately drawn to them. You want to step in, you want to support them, you want to find out how you can do what you can to get them in a better spot. Those are some of the things that you may want to think about when considering the Community Support Worker Program. Those are all really important traits to have or to consider, and great characteristics when entering this program. So Rob here had some great reasons as to why someone would want to go to CBBC College. And I also have a few. So here's why I would suggest and encourage someone to choose the program of Community Support Worker at CBBC. Firstly, being a community support worker provides meaningful employment, and you support vulnerable people and vulnerable populations throughout different challenges throughout their life. When I say vulnerable people and populations, that could be a very vast and diverse group of people. Some of the people that community support workers work with would be people of all lifespans, so infant, childhood, youth, senior citizens. We would provide support to all of those people, whether they have physical limitations, emotional limitations, or cognitive limitations that hinders them from promoting their full abilities. Those are the people that we would work with and support to try to help overcome or meet the goals that they have decided for themselves. Our vulnerable populations could be people who struggle with mental health and substance abuse. It could be LGBTQ plus community members. There's a number of different populations with diverse needs and backgrounds that community support workers look to support. Community support workers provide direct and indirect support, and they impact their clients and community members in need by doing that. So depending on the need and the service, the community support worker would work side by side with the client to support them. It also provides insight and engagement into the community services and the supports that are available for people in need. I'm sure many of you are aware of some of the nonprofits or services around in our area. Once getting into the community support work program, it really expands the knowledge of what is out there, what's in our society for marginalized folks, what's in our society for people who are often overlooked. What supports are there? It provides, well, I did mention it provides meaningful employment, but it also provides a different level of fulfillment because the community support worker program and the industry itself works collectively to make the world or society a better place, whether that's standing up for people and advocating for someone's rights or human rights being violated. Maybe you're standing up against a system and a rule that potentially may not be appropriate or acceptable. We also, as Rob said, we do a lot of hands-on work and experience. We do have a practicum where you get to work and be mentored in the agency, hands-on working with clients so that you're supported the entire way. For possible career opportunities, live-in and assisted care facilities. Typically in these facilities, you would see senior citizens or folks who are nearing the end of their life care. You are capable of working and supporting these people during this time, and often actually support workers are really needed in live-in and care facilities to support some of the folks whose abilities have started to deplete, perhaps with age or with illness. You have the option to work in group homes, and perhaps that's for adults with mental health concerns or at-risk youth who have struggles with family matters or potentially law and justice. There's group homes available out there for a number of different people who are experiencing a number of different challenges. And as community support workers, it's our role to step in and support those clients with whatever their goals may be within their home. Respite work is similar to, I'd like to call it the break of a caregiver. So hypothetically speaking, we'll say there's a family who has a child and they have a number of different cognitive and physical limitations, and they need quite a bit of support and care for their everyday activities. Let's say the family and the parents take care of their child, the 5 days a week to the full care capacity they can. And then the final 2 days of the week come and the parents are realizing they need rest. They need groceries. They have an appointment. They need to pick up prescriptions. Could be a number of errands or things to do that they can't perhaps bring the child due to their limitations or due to overstimulation or whatever the need may be. A respite worker would come in and support that family by providing a break. The respite worker would come in, provide the full compassionate care the exact same way the family would, but it gives the family and the full-time caregivers a break, a chance to reset and run their errands or fulfill their household that they may need to, that they don't often get a chance to do when they're caretaking for that client or that family member. We will be working with people who may have mental health concerns, who may be struggling with substance abuse, or who may be struggling with both. They're a vulnerable population that needs support, and community support workers are some of the biggest supports for those people. Often people who may have mental health concerns that others don't understand, or substance abuse issues that, again, others may not understand. Often those people are judged or overlooked, and community support workers our role is to step in, support, and be there for those people, the people that some may have forgot about or may not have treated as well in the past. We are their support system. Another option you have is family support services and family resource centers. So that can look like a number of things. They provide resources to families such as sometimes it's diapers, food banks, financial support, childcare, homework support. Those are a number of different things that you could see if you were working as a community support worker in a family support services or resource center. You have the potential to work with at-risk youth. Again, like I mentioned, perhaps they're having trouble with the justice system and they need a new opportunity. Or they have family issues and they can't trust anybody there. As a community support worker, we are the ones who support them and give them empathy and an active listening ear so that they can feel supported during their this challenging time. Nonprofit and charities. Maybe in your time, you have volunteered somewhere, whether that's at a charity or maybe you volunteer for a cause, and you thought to yourself, I love this. I could wake up every day and come here and do work very similar to this and feel happy, feel good when I go home. That's possible with the community support worker program. You do have the opportunity to work in different charities and nonprofits, food banks, homeless shelters, drop-in programs. There's a ton of different nonprofit and charities in our community here. And I have plenty of mind to believe that these folks are the people who are seeking out charities and nonprofits could also be marginalized or a population that is vulnerable. So community support workers are definitely appropriate for places like nonprofits to support people who are working through poverty issues and things like that. There's the option for community drop-in, providing employment building skills and putting on community programs in that way. Often you may support someone with physical or cognitive or emotional limitations with finding an educational program to build skills, finding an employment opportunity where they can build more skills. There's lots of options and career potentials for community support workers. So that's just my very jam-packed slide of a few examples I could think of. Really quickly, I'm just gonna drop in a few courses that I think are particularly exciting and some of the things that I look forward to learning and teaching here. So one of the courses we take is Introduction to Support Work and Ethical Care. And in this module, we discuss what does a community support worker do? What does a day look like for a community support worker in a group home? What does a day look like for a community support worker at a live-in care facility? What does it look like? What's expected? We talk about what our role is as a professional community support worker. We talk about our scope of practice and what we're responsible for to the client. As I mentioned, we talk about the standards and expectations that we would be held to and the level of care that we would provide. And again, what is ethical care? Does everybody receive ethical care? Do I know the difference between ethical care? Health and personal care is another big topic we touch on. We discuss personal care techniques to reduce illness or injury. And we discuss in detail why and how hygiene can impact health. I think, depending on the age or at what point in your lifespan, personal care and hygiene can be impactful in different ways, right? If we think of maybe a baby versus someone who is older, hygiene is still very important regardless of your age, and it's important to maintain so you can maintain your health. We talk about the impacts of poor health for clients, what it can lead to, and what that could look like. And we also discuss how to care for a client in a dignified and compassionate way, which is really important. One of the biggest themes throughout community support work is dignity. We are here to provide a dignified experience to people who may have been not treated as well in the past. And we're giving them the empowerment and the opportunity to be as dignified as they deserve. Medication awareness. This one can be interesting because we break down and discuss the different types of medication, what it's used for. We discuss the terminology, which is a little tough, but still pretty interesting. We discuss how to administer medication, how to sign off on it, and we discuss standards and responsibilities for medication compliance, which is really important. One of the most, I would say, student-interested courses would be the mental health course. I think, you know, a lot of us have seen that in the past few years, the stigma towards mental health has really started to change. And that's great news for people who are community support workers, because these are our people, and all we want is for them to have a dignified and equal supportive life, right? So our students tend to really like the mental health chapter. We explore and learn about a variety of mental health concerns. We look at the theories, we look at the therapies, the theories, and the techniques to support clients and the different mental health concerns they live with. Naturally, mental health is complicated. It's not going to be a one-size-fits-all. It's different for different people. Different mental health concerns project and show differently for people. The brain is a funny place. There's a lot to learn about how it works. And we explore and identify signs of depleting mental health and how community support workers are to respond. We discuss solution-focused intervention, and this course is essentially about problem solving, building solutions, and why that's important in working with vulnerable populations. Teaches you how to intervene during a crisis. It tells you what kind of techniques you should use to defuse or de-escalate a crisis. And after that course, you actually receive a nonviolent crisis intervention certificate. And that certificate, again, teaches you how to protect yourself, be safe, while also being safe and protecting your client should any crisis occur. Suicide intervention. Suicide intervention is another course that we look at. We look at how to identify if a client or someone we love is showing signs of suicidal thoughts. We discuss how to communicate with a client who may be expressing suicidal ideations. We break down how a community support worker would impact someone with suicidal thoughts, what we could do and where we could intervene to support them and stop this from occurring. Techniques and strategies to intervene a possible suicide attempt. And during this course, you also receive the Applied Suicide Intervention Technique Certificate, which is known as ASSIST. And this is a really cool certificate because it never expires. It is kind of a lifelong certificate that you get to travel with for your whole life after you've completed the workshop. So it gives you a role play on how to engage and discuss with someone who may be attempting. It's really, really interesting, and it ties really well together with some of the techniques and strategies that we use when working with people with mental health concerns or substance abuse as well. Oh, so that was what I had for course material. I'm not sure if Rob has anything he wants to share, but if he does not.
No, absolutely. I always do, Jillian.
Perfect. Take
Uh,
four.
First of all, thanks very much, Jillian. That was very informative. I certainly appreciate that, and I certainly do now want to open it up if anybody has any questions at all for either Jillian or myself. And again, we do encourage lots of questions.
And I'm not shy.
So Sarah's asked, there are lots of job, oops. Okay, so let me just open these up. And Jillian, someone, I think it was Sarah that asked you to maybe expand on some of the job opportunities, you know, here within the HRM.
So Sarah said that there is a lot of job options. Is this a hard field to get into? I don't feel like it is a hard field to get into. The course really focuses on how to holistically treat people, how to address people in the most dignified and egalitarian way possible. There are lots of entry-level positions, and just based off my, own experience, I'm often seeing, casual positions popping up, part-time. There's lots of different ways to get into the industry. And then from there, really the opportunities, if you're willing to be trained, the opportunities just grow.
Yeah. And Joshua has a great question.
Okay.
Jillian, how did you choose this career?
Wow.
I'm sorry, why did you choose this career?
Oh, those are tough ones. Okay.
Yeah.
So I chose this career and to work in the field because when I was younger, something that I was really, really motivated by was the feeling of reward and doing for others. I know, sounds cheesy, of course, right? You want to help everyone. But what really inspired me actually was I went on a field trip one year to feed Nova Scotia, and we packed, and I think it was in junior high, we packed food hampers and food support bags for families to go out to the food banks. Now at this time, I didn't work with any clients. I was just with my classmates building and doing the physical labor of it. But when I saw the entire process and the process come full circle, which we were allowed to volunteer for a second time and actually give out the packages, when I did that, I just felt a great level of reward, and I felt a great level of satisfaction, and I enjoy being able to do that every day. Plus I love people. So this is a good mix.
Okay. Paula's asked, she's actually commented that she said it was great information. She wanted to know how to apply. What I'd recommend, Paula, is just go to our website. It's www.cbbccareercollege.ca. And if you haven't already, just fill out a request for information, and one of our admissions reps will get a hold of you. Speaking of how to apply, just want to let everyone know that we do have multiple starts. We actually have a start coming up the end of February. There is still space in the class, and prerequisites for this particular program. We do require a criminal records check with vulnerable sector search. We also require a child abuse registry check. We can take students from high school if they have their GED. We also have alternative admissions. But yeah, just contact us and we can certainly walk you through the application process. Judy has asked whether it's an online or in class or both. Judy, this is an instructor-led in-class program. Right now, we have the opportunity because of COVID to do some blended learning, but as a general rule, this is always in class. Class times are Monday to Friday. They're 4-hour days, and right now the course is run from 8:30 to 12:30. It's 41 weeks in length. And at the very end of the program, students will do a 5-week practicum. And the practicum, a lot of people say, how do I set that up? Well, you don't. We actually do. And between Career Services, the student, and Jillian, we picked the spot that is really going to be a positive experience for you. We really want to exploit your qualifications. And if we just start sending students willy-nilly, well, you go here and you go there, we're not sure if it's going to be a positive experience. So again, we really do want to hear it. Okay. Just going down the list. Judy's asked again, is it available at Dartmouth and Sydney? Absolutely, it is. The only difference, Judy, between the two programs is Sydney has a longer day than we do. And I believe there's 7 hours a day. So they end up completing the program, I believe it's in 31 weeks. But other than that, the curriculum's the same. And I can tell you with Sydney, they've been running the program a little bit longer than we have here in Dartmouth. And last year, their employment stat for CSW was 100%. So 28 out of 28 students found full-time employment in that field. Great question, though, Judy. Thanks.
Rob, I
Yes.
don't mean to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but we do have a question in the Q&A that says, there's two, sorry, but
Okay.
is there an international English test requirement for those of us from the Commonwealth countries?
Yes, there is. If English isn't your native language and you're international, we do require English language testing. And that's really to make sure that you're going to be successful in the program. And right now for this one, we are looking for IELTS 6.5 in all disciplines. We actually have an affiliation with a language school here in the HRM, and that is CLLC, and they actually have a pathway program. So if you enter the pathway program at CLLC, once you finish it, you are guaranteed admittance into CBBC. A guaranteed admittance as long as you you do have the other prerequisites, though. Yeah. And there was another one here. Does anybody else have any questions?
There was one from a Josh.
Yeah, just seeing that now.
Okay.
Go ahead. You can take
it. Okay. Just wondering if with a criminal record, if they're still eligible to take the program.
No, they're not. All I can recommend that if a person does have a criminal record, start applying for a pardon now. And the reason we set certain prerequisites, it's all based on employment. And you can be the best person in the world, but with that blemish on your criminal record, it will get in the way of you finding employment. So start on a pardon. Pardons now are actually getting a little bit easier. We certainly went through a really rough time with pardons a few years ago. It was a very expensive process, and it was a long process, but they have cut that down considerably. So I would, if it's something that you really want to do, start with that right away. Never great in school. We offer as much support as we possibly can. We have peer tutoring in the classroom. And then I go back, Joshua, what I talked about with the modular system, that, again, in high school, you're juggling, 5 or 6 different subjects. You're your history teacher didn't know what your math teacher was assigning for homework, and all of a sudden you get, it's pretty easy to get overwhelmed. As I said earlier, if you're in a particular module and Jillian's your instructor, she's going to manage what type of extra work you do have. And then again, we're committed to our student success. So we're going to do whatever we can to help you. We're not going to give away a diploma. That's not what we're about. But we are there to commit. And you think about it, the smaller class sizes. It does give that ability for some one-on-one, and and then there's some accommodations that we can provide also. For those of you who have been in university, and I'm sure there's quite a few of you out there this evening. I think they said right now the average class size of a first-year university class is about 150 students. Imagine if they had to take attendance.
No.
Your class would be over before it started.
Yeah.
And I'm an old guy, I don't mind telling you. After 35 years out of university, I'm gonna give you 5 numbers: 58,747. Never forgotten my student number, because if you didn't write down your student number, you weren't there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a much different experience.
We're a little bit more laid back here.
yeah, no numbers. Yeah.
There is a question, and I'm not sure if I'm saying the name right, so I apologize. Musa, how is the fee payment done for international students, and the mode of payment or method maybe?
Okay, so for international students, what we do is we set up a payment plan. There's a number of different payment plans that we can set up. A student can actually pay up to half of their tuition. They're not allowed to pay more than half. So if they want to put half at the very beginning, the other half, 5 months through the program, we can do something like that. We have other students that just set up monthly payment plans. Again, we're here to work with the student, and depending on the student, payment plans can vary. Do you help find jobs for this program? Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, I go back to our career services department. That's what they do the whole time. I don't want it to make it sound like a student's a commodity. They're not, but we are marketing our students continuously. And especially for CSW, I'll tell you just a quick story. I was at an employment fair. I think it was in November, late October or November. And a representative from the HR department of what's called RRSS came to see me, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jillian, it's Regional Residential Support Services.
Yep.
And they said, when are you starting the program? I said, well, it just started. And she was, when are they going to finish? And I told them, and they said, we want first crack at every student. So that's exciting when HR comes up and says something like that. But absolutely, we are there to help students gain employment. We assist with resume writing, interviewing skills, absolutely everything. And as I had said earlier, that relationship with career services, it is really just getting started when a person graduates, and we have that commitment with the graduate for life. Paul, do they generally get jobs from placements? A lot do, just depending on the program. And remember when I had talked about making sure that wherever we send a student is going to be the right fit? That is so important, because again, if the person's not the right fit, and I go back, it's not a positive experience, or they just weren't the right match, there's going to be zero opportunity for employment with that particular agency. So that's why we watch it very carefully, and we match that student up with the placement.
Rob, I have one more that was in the Q&A, if that's okay.
Sure. Actually, here, I see it right now. So
The do I have to have do I have to be a high school graduate to take the program?
No, you don't, Joshua. You know, if you have a high school GED adult learning, if you're not, we can actually put you what's called alternative admissions. We do have an evaluation that we get the student to complete, and then we can decide on their entrance from there.
Okay, I'll stop now.
That's great. I think we got. These are great questions, folks. I got to tell you, it's because you're never sure what you may miss when you're doing a presentation. So this is absolutely wonderful. Any other questions? Right. Well, if there's no other questions, I certainly want to thank everybody for taking time out of your evening to join us.